Okay, DFI students, a couple things before we jump into the content area, and this is just to prep us for that venture. I noticed when I was giving you guys feedback on what you've done thus far that some of you up here in your logo box area didn't really create a PNG for a logo, you just entered text. I think that's fine, but I want to make sure that this logo type, either by color, by scale, by layout, something makes it more significant than menu items, okay? So redress that. Some of you just simply type something here and it looks a lot like the other buttons on the right side. We want this to be a little more significant. Later we'll actually make this a link to go back home as well. So it really would work best if that was a PNG, and that's easy to create in Illustrator or Photoshop. And just make sure when you create a PNG, crop it down close to the lettering. Don't go really wide because it remembers that negative space, that empty space that's also transparent, and it'll take up too much space. And I noticed a couple of you had that issue. Okay, one thing we want to do before we start, and I'm just reminding you here that I've got, I'm calling mine index 2. You guys are just calling yours index.html because I've got a finished version here, or another version. Okay, we want to create our style sheet before we get too far along. And what this means, if you've got a background image, which you do, see mine here, it's in images / home header background PNG. Yours should look somewhat similar to this. But we're going to copy this, cut it actually, and paste it into a new style sheet and then link to it. We've done this before, but only one other time. So watch this carefully. In the source code here, I'm going to go to the word style, the tag, the HTML for style. And I'm going to drag all the way down through the close style. And if you'll do the same, close style right here. All right, and I'm going to say edit, cut, Command X or Control X if you're on a PC. We're going to cut that. Immediately, all of my imagery, my style over here goes away. Okay, we expected that. Okay, so I'm going to say File, New, and I'm looking for CSS, not HTML. I'm going to say CSS, then Create down at the bottom here. It says Create. And here we have a blank style sheet. And I'm going to paste it. Okay, so you should do the same. So this is exactly as it was in the source code. Remember, you're not just copying and pasting, you're cutting. You want to get rid of that code out of the source code, the original HTML. I'm going to delete this tag style. This is very important. Don't forget this. Delete the word style because that's HTML. And don't erase this stuff up above. So I'm just erasing the word style. And I'm going to go down to the bottom where the close style is and make sure I delete that as well. Okay? So all of this from now on, we're going to link to this and we will have this one style sheet that governs every page that we create. Eventually we'll do that. We want to name this. We're going to call it save, we're going to say save as, we're going to call it style like you did on the last time we did a style sheet, but we're going to say, I'm going to say style 2. You just say style, okay? But I'm trying to separate my original files from my new templated files or tutoring files. So file save as, and I'm looking for my root folder, and it's in project 3, which is correct. It's in my Johnson site folder, project 3. Yours should be the same, and you should look for that style sheet. You should have a style sheet CSS folder. If you don't, make one, okay? If you don't have one, make one and put it in there before you do this. And I've already got a style in there from previously, so I'm going to name this one style 2, all lowercase. Don't forget, I'm calling mine style 2. Yours should just simply be style. Okay, and I'm going to say save this. So that style sheet is saved, but it's not linked to my page yet. So I'm going to go back to my index page, and I want to link to it. So while my cursor is up here after the word title, up here in the head somewhere, perfect place for it. Just insert your cursor there, and then say insert. Okay, you go to Tools, your menu bar to go to Tools, CSS, Attach Style Sheet. Okay, Tools, CSS, Attach Style Sheet, and you get this little window, and you want to link, not import. Say Browse, and I'm looking for my root folder, project 3, looking for that CSS file called style 2. Yikes, I didn't save it in the right place. I'm going to see if I can move it. Will it let me move it? Oh, Okay, so I'm going to go back and correct my file, okay? I'm bad, but you can learn from my mistake. Let me cancel this. I'm going to resave my style here. File, save as. I didn't get it in the CSS folder. Double click here. Now save it. Yes, okay. Now I'm going to close this first one here that was kind of there. Okay, now I want to link to it. So I'm going to say, what I did before, insert my cursor after title, but up here in the head, and go to Tools, CSS, Attach Style Sheet, browse to find it. It's Project 3, CSS, and it's, for me it's Style 2. Because I already have one. I keep saying that. I want to make sure you don't call your Style 2. And there we go. And I'm going to say Open. Now, one thing, we'll say OK. And it should look like the file should be css/style2, or for you style.css. Okay. What I want to do is, you can see the code right here. I'm going to move it up a little bit, this little line of code. I'm going to put it right here, kind of where I can see it easily. But this is the link, looking for the folder CSS, then finding the style.css and the rest of that line of code, and the head's closing. You'll notice my background image came back in. Let's go, my style sheet now is over here on a toggle. See, I go source code style, source code style. I'm going to open this and close it. This was that original style that I made. All right, from here on out, when I say save, I'll probably say save all. That way I'm saving both my style sheet and my code. So it seems to be working fine. However, I got one little problem I'm going to fix in case yours did too. This is important. Check this out. When I said update links, it did this automatically. I didn't really want it to. This is kind of, you just bear with me on this. See where mine says file, Macintosh, users, Johnson desktop, etc., etc., all of that. I do not want that. All I want is this. My images for my background header, I want it to be ... // The reason we have to change any kind of link that we had in the CSS is because we put the CSS now in a different folder. I know that's confusing. I'm sorry, but it's just the way it is. We put it inside of a different folder called CSS, so the address is different. So it will be ... / then images folder. All right, just trust me on that one. I don't think you've got any more, but if you had an image in the background of your header up here, your navbar area, then you would do the same thing. But in my case, we don't. Some of you, my logo is actually inserted in the source code, so it's not affected. All right. Talk to you soon in the next video.